What's going on? This is Big G from G Riders, and welcome to another episode of Testing Rides. Today, I'm going to be testing the 2017 Kia Sportage LX all-wheel drive. Welcome to the 2017 Kia Sportage. In 2011, with the release of the 2011 Kia Sportage, it sported the all-new design, started attracting buyers back to Kias from other brands with their new stylings and updated engines and interiors and updated quality. Now in 2017, this Kia is pretty much all new. It has all new stylings. They added some new standard equipment, but overall the vehicle did not change in really any dimensions. It just looks really different than the last one. So some new standard equipment they added on every single Kia now is they added the backup camera. They added a pretty small multicolored display that has the backup camera integrated with Bluetooth and everything like that. And they also added daytime running lights to this Kia Sportage. So pricing on the 2017 Kia Sportage starts at about $25,000, and that's with the two-wheel drive with the 2.4 liter. And this one is just an LX with an all-wheel drive, so this makes this vehicle around $26,000, and the only thing this adds is all-wheel drive to the vehicle. But when you start getting up there in the features, this vehicle can go well over $30,000. So this one has the 2.4 liter four-cylinder engine that makes 181 horsepower and 175 pound-feet of torque, and it weighs about 3,700 pounds. Because this vehicle weighs kind of a bit, it actually gets fairly decent fuel economy. It gets 21 city and 25 out on the highway, but from driving it, I averaged about 22 miles to the gallon. I mentioned the styling was a bit changed on this one. So the Kia Sportage since 2011 has always had kind of a polarizing style, and with this model it's about the same. So the very front of this vehicle looks quite similar to the 2006 B9 Subaru Tribeca B9, and I mean it's not a bad look, but it's definitely different from what you're seeing on the road. And I think that's what Kias are trying to do now. They're trying to separate themselves from all the other competition in the styling department. But I do like the front because in the front it comes with projector headlights and the light in the center there. But I must say, an LED daytime running light. My favorite angle on this vehicle is the back here. I love the tail light that goes all the way across the back, and I know on the higher models it has LED tail lights that go across the entire back. Alright, let's take a look at the interior. Let's talk about this interior. Alright, welcome to the inside of the 2017 Kia Sportage. And the biggest updates I would say came in the interior. They put this vehicle right on par with the regular Kias in their lineup, and I really like the interior setup in here. Everything's really easy to access. Everything feels actually pretty decent quality, even though this is a base model. Like, you know, my favorite place to put my arm right up here. It's actually pretty soft to be a base model. The dashboard feels pretty soft. The steering wheel has a nice feel, has a nice cushy to it. Some nice cushiness to it. And I love the steering wheel design in these cars. They look just like Audis. And it's actually a really small steering wheel, so that makes this car feel a little bit tossable. And I really like that in vehicles. This vehicle also has this like interesting like dash setups to where like the dash actually sits kind of lower than the hood, so you can see over the hood pretty easily in this vehicle. And all Kias have that, and I really appreciate them doing that because it makes the vehicle feel a little bit smaller than it actually is, and it makes the vehicle easy to maneuver. So here in the center stack, they added a new radio, which is in all their cars now. So it's a little small touchscreen here, and it also has the backup camera integrated in there, and it has, you know, your basic functions like Bluetooth, Sirius satellite radio, things like that. And down here, it has a pretty simple climate control center where you can change your temperatures and everything without having to take your eyes off the road too much, because they're just really simple. They're simple and straightforward. Down here, they still have the USB and aux import, which is pretty good. I'm not a fan of the cars that still have it in the glove box, because, not in the glove box, but in the center console. It's just because people shouldn't be using their phones while they drive, but people also don't want to have to look for their phone when they need it while they're driving also. I love the shifter design on the Kias. They have a nice feel to it. You can just wrap your hand around it and put it in gear, and it's really simple. And one of the newest things on the Kia Sportage that the Kia Sportage really never had was all these buttons down here. So down here is your driver select mode. So it puts you in Eco, Sport, and Normal mode. Eco mode, of course, lightens up the steering, and it shifts really early so you don't hold gears too long, so you can get the best fuel economy possible. Down here with the sync control, so it's pretty much like if you're off-roading or anything like that, you can just hit this and the car will brake for itself on the way down the hill. And then the center right here is the four-wheel drive lock on. So pretty much this kind of locks the four-wheel drive on at all times. So like if you get stuck somewhere, it'll engage on and it'll get you unstuck from wherever you are. But other than that, the interior is it's a pretty simple laid out interior. I like the cloth seats in here. The seats are really comfortable. Kia is one of the only companies that has a headrest that go up high enough to where I can put my head against it and drive and just be in a really comfortable position. Yeah, overall, this base model Kia's interior is actually really good. And Kia has, over the last few years, Kia has really been doing an excellent base model interior. And I really like that about their vehicles now. You don't have to get a top of the line model to get a good interior. All right, let's take a look at the back seat. Overall, the back seat is pretty big. Like, I'm a pretty tall guy, so I have to have the seat pretty far back, and I actually do kind of fit back here. And the back seats are just as comfortable as the front seat. They do fully recline and everything, so it makes this vehicle very, very versatile. And now let's take a look at the trunk here. The trunk is actually not that big for the car class, but it's a decent amount of space. You can fit a decent amount of stuff in here. You can fit a lot of groceries for grocery shopping, and you probably can fit a stroller and a bunch of bags back here, but not too bad at all. All right, let's see how this thing sounds. All right, let's see how this car drives. So one thing I've noticed in this, from driving this Kia Sportage for the last few days, it actually has a pretty good suspension setup. So this vehicle is not too firm, but it handles pretty sporty actually. So you can take turns pretty quickly and don't have to worry about too much body roll. And it's actually pretty cool. But you know what? Most people are not going to be driving it like that. And so how does this car drive in the city? It drives in the city perfectly. It's easy to park, easy to see out of. The vision out here in the front is really good. and it gets pretty decent fuel economy. So the top things that I like on this vehicle, I love the steering wheel size because it makes the vehicle drive smaller than what it really is. I love how the interior is. I sit down pretty deep in this interior, so I feel like I'm the most comfortable I can be in this vehicle. And I just think this vehicle is excellent. It's not the fastest SUV in the world, but it is pretty decently quick for the 181 horsepower that it has. I mean, just got to think about it though. It has to move around 3,700 pounds, and that's not the easiest thing to do in the world with the 4-cylinder engine. Most of the time, to really move that around really quickly, you have to have a turbo attached to the engine. But for a naturally aspirated engine like this, it's not too bad at all. The seats are very, very comfortable in this car. That's probably one of the most impressive things about this car, in my opinion, is how comfortable these seats are to be the base model 4-cylinder. I really do think that the leather seats that come in the higher models probably get a little bit better, but this is very good to be a base model. And for 25 grand, it actually is a pretty good value for the money. Lots of space, very comfortable to drive, easy to maneuver, and that's just basically the basic things that I think about this car. But there are some things that I don't like, and it's not about this car, it's about Kia, how they package their vehicles. So this is the base model. You can't really get any options on it. And so to get a sunroof, push button starter, and everything like that, you have to spend $30,000 on this vehicle to get that, even with this base engine. And I think that's not very cool. I understand that they want to volume sell like the cheaper ones and then get people into the higher ones for more money, but I don't think that's the way to go. Like Ford, with the Ford Escape, all you have to do is add the sunroof to a package and you're going to be into the vehicle about $27,000. The Toyota RAV4 actually comes with a sunroof standard on XLE trims and higher, and the CR-V is the same thing, but the EX and comes standard with sunroof, EX and higher, push button starter and everything standard on an EX and higher. And I just don't think that the value for the money thing Kia is trying to pitch hard is not the best thing in the world if you want features. If you want a base model, a good base model, this is one of the better base models that there are out there. But if you want one with options on it, that's when things get a bit expensive and a bit ridiculous. And that's just my biggest gripe with Kia as a brand right now. One of the best things about this vehicle is the visibility out of all the windows. Even though this vehicle has kind of like a sloped windshield, like to have really good styling and everything, you still can see out of all the windows very clearly. And then like when you look over your shoulder for a blind spot, I definitely do miss having the 3/4 window in the back, because it does add a little bit visibility to the vehicle. But Kia, what they did, instead of having that there, they allowed the backseat passengers to have a little more space. And then so they push the seats back further, so they don't have to have that 3/4 window and have to have anybody back there. So if they're going to get rid of that 3/4 window, what they should do is add the little blind spot pieces on the mirrors. So since there's no window to look out of, you can just look there instead of guessing and hoping and praying that nobody's there on the side of you. But that's just one of my small gripes with the interior on this Kia. But other than that, this is a very solid SUV, and if you're considering looking at one of these and you just really want to get the base model, I would highly recommend just getting the base model on this one. But the middle of the line gets a little pricey in my opinion, and I think that they should drop the price down a little on. And my thing is, this Kia is the best base model small crossover out there. But if you want some options, that's when this car starts getting a little bit expensive. I know the quality and the features and everything gets better on the higher end models, but I just think that if you're looking for a $24,000 vehicle that's going to offer you a lot of space and a lot of versatility, and honestly a lot of pretty good styling also, I think you definitely should look at this one. Definitely should look at this car, this one, and the Hyundai Tucson. And actually, one cool thing about the Kias is the Kias have been separated from the Hyundai Tucson a lot more. It's because the Hyundai Tucson actually starts at a lower price, but it has a smaller engine in it. So now the Hyundai Tucson has a 2-liter naturally aspirated as the base engine, and this one has a 2.4 liter as the base engine. So this one offers a little bit more power and a little bit more sportiness to it, and the Hyundai is kind of more the value. And this one actually separates itself from the market because it looks different than any other crossover on the road. Because the one thing I can say about the Hyundai Tucson, it looks a lot like the Mazda CX-5 from a lot of angles. When I test one of those out, I'll do the comparison between the two. But this vehicle does drive really well, and if you are in the market for a vehicle this size, you should definitely take a test drive in the Kia Sportage. And honestly, I would actually buy this one. I actually really like it. And there's not many cars that I test that I don't like, honestly. But this one definitely sticks out as one of the better crossovers, for sure. What can I say about the Kia Sportage? It's a very good little SUV. So if you're looking for an SUV that is comfortable, easy to drive, gets decent fuel economy, and not too bad on the power, and looks a little bit different than all the crossovers on the road, this is definitely your vehicle. If you enjoyed this video on this 2017 Kia, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and keep riding with me. Thanks for watching.